Sports presents college basketball. Today from Durham, North Carolina, it's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame versus the Duke Blue Devils.
And welcome to Cameron Indoor Stadium, home of college basketball's reigning national champions, the Duke Blue Devils. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Quickie with Coach Al McGuire, who was just accorded a terrific honor. As perhaps you've heard, Al McGuire has been voted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Coach, a great honor and well-deserved.
Thank you, Don. It's top shelf. It's out of sight.
And the Duke Blue Devils are also a top shelf item. They're a good team, an outstanding team that's getting better, unbeaten now through 16 games. The Blue Devils haven't shown a weakness all season, and the cornerstone of their success is their College Player of the Year candidate, 6'11" Christian Laettner.
Christian should be the #1 senior in the draft in early June for the NBA. He's really a miniature Bill Walton. He has a guard inside his body. He stretches out the defense with his long-range shooting, but down low, he's mentally and physically tough. He'll always finalize.
Notre Dame comes in after a slow start, having won 6 of its last 9 games. The Fighting Irish have played their best on the road. How do you beat Duke in this building? You probably don't. And the Notre Dame team's going to face nonstop pressure.
Well, Coach K will put pressure on us, trying to turn him over, try to get him in foul trouble, because Notre Dame doesn't have the bench. But they got to remember, they got the trifecta of Ellis, Sweet, and Bennett. They can burn you.
They have upset North Carolina and Southern California. Notre Dame will be without a starting center, 6'11" Keith Power. He is out with an elbow injury. A sophomore will start in his place. John McLeod, in his first season as head coach at Notre Dame, brings his club in with a 7-8 record. And today he'll start up front. His All-America candidate, LaFonso Ellis, along with freshman Billy Taylor, Ross at center, Damon Sweet, and Elmer Bennett, the backline players, big scorers. There is Grant Hill up front along with Brian Davis, a senior co-captain. Christian Laettner is at center. And working in the backcourt is a rising shooting star, Thomas Hill, great 2-guard scorer. And the man who runs the Blue Devils from the back line, Bobby Hurley. Duke assist record. He has 700, 8 short of Tommy Amaker's 4-year record. And Hurley still has a season and a half to play.
The officials are out of the Mid-American Conference. That's Paramore that just threw up the ball.
Duke has won 25 straight games at home. The Blue Devils have a 22-game winning streak overall, dating back to last March, their last defeat to North Carolina in the title game of the ACC tournament. Laettner down low against Ross. And just as they did in their last time out against Florida State, Duke comes out pounding the ball into Christian Laettner.
They'll keep hitting it down low, trying to get Notre Dame in foul trouble, especially the baseline. With Towers out, they lose 5 personal fouls.
Now Grant Hill coming down the floor, tries to hit Davis down low. A little too much lead on it, and Notre Dame gets the ball back.
Don't see Grant Hill make many mistakes. They just put that ball too far out. Man to man, both teams, belly button to belly button.
Ross comes out high. Notre Dame plays a high post offense, and the Irish, plagued by turnovers all season, they're averaging over 16 turnovers a game. Turn the ball over here.
Sweet should not have tried to push the ball down to the freshman Taylor. It's too early in the game. Get the ball down to Ellis.
Overall, over the years, Duke has beaten Notre Dame 13 of 15 meetings. They won at Notre Dame last year to the Blue Devils 90-77, but Ellis, who just ripped down that defensive board for Notre Dame, didn't play in that game as Taylor, the freshman, shoots and misses, and Laettner outlets to Hurley. Here comes a 3-on-3 break. Lead goes to Brian Davis.
Ooh. No fear. No fear at all.
So Duke, and their following is on fire early. Look again here, Coach.
Nice pass by Bobby, the quarterback, and here he climbs. That's a condor up there.
Duke in front 4-0. Taylor will be pressured, the freshman, all game long. Here is Bennett coming off his best game, 32 against DePaul. And Elmer Bennett, who couldn't throw in the ocean at the outset of the DePaul game and then got a red hot, hits his first shot of the day. It's a 4-2 game. Notre Dame shot, missed 14 of his first 16 shots, Al, against DePaul.
And still went on to beat a good team. Booth is a potential All-American. Howard is very good from DePaul, too.
Thomas Hill working hard on Damon Sweet, but can't lose him. A 3-point try. And senior Brian Davis, who's a 9-point-a-game scorer, is off to a fast start. He scored 5 of Duke's first 7.
Early pressure, trying to turn them, trying to get a run going.
Elmer Bennett beats Hurley with the dribble, and then the Duke defense cuts off Bennett. Rebound slapped out to Hurley, and again the Blue Devils run. Lead to Grant Hill, and it'll come inbound to Notre Dame.
That was a wrong call. Good. They adjusted it. It was obviously a wrong call.
John McLeod, when we met with him yesterday, was lamenting the nonstop pressure he knew his team would face. He said, we can't afford to fall way behind early. Notre Dame this season has a history of coming from behind in the second half to win, but it's unlikely they could do it here. Hurley pulls up and strikes, and it's a 9-2 game.
Got to keep the ball in Bennett's and Sweet's hands with Ellis playing low. Ellis could have a big game because last year he was ineligible to play against Duke, and Duke might underestimate him. LaFonso Ellis is a good ball player.
Damon Sweet pulls up off the dribble and hits it. Duke coming down the floor with the ball has hit 4 of its first 5 shots from the field.
Every time down, I put it into that trifecta. Any one of those 3 guys, that's the only way I'd play. As a push-off by Christian.
Leitner pushed off on Ross, so the ball turns back over to Notre Dame with 16:32 to play in the first half. Blue Devils with a 16-0 record coming in, 8-0 in the ACC. Coach Krzyzewski said there's no pressure to have an undefeated season because, as he calls it, it's a stupid goal. It's not a goal of this team. He said we could lose 4 or 5.
Well, he's got a good break and play in Michigan. Those great freshmen we have next week at South Bend in overtime, and also Florida State went down to the wire. The score was 62-62 with 2 minutes to go. And there goes Sweet, one of the trifectas. Those 3 guys can beat you. Ask North Carolina.
Next Sunday, Michigan will play at Notre Dame, a game you'll see here on NBC Sports. Leitner gets the roll, and Duke again opens up a 5-point lead. Driving hard to the basket on a thing of beauty is Damon Sweet. Or Elmer Bennett.
Bennett, that was. You're right, Don. Hurley cannot play close on Bennett. He has to play legitimate defense, not overplay, because Bennett will blow by him every time. Too much for a reach in by the freshman.
Thomas Hill hacked down the arm as he starts to the basket.
Fouls on number 30, Billy Taylor. That's
Duke is built around 3 key players. Leitner, for sure. Grant Hill and Bobby Hurley, and the coaches are all saying, Al, that this guy going to the free throw line, Thomas Hill, is moving into that elite class. He's become a big scorer.
Their first 7 ball players are absolutely, again, out of sight. That's why they're number 1 in the country. They will not go through undefeated. I think they'll go into the NCAA tournament probably with 2 losses. The reason they won the NCAA tournament last year, I feel, is because of the beating the Tar Heels gave them in the finals of the ACC. They beat them by over 20. And that's a good thing to lose before you go into the big dance.
Didn't that happen to your Marquette team? Weren't you beaten?
Yeah, when we won in 1977, we lost our last game to Michigan.
Break in the action. It's Duke by 5 with 15:38 to play in the first half.
Air delivery.
15:38 to play in the first half.
Notre Dame is shooting 57%, but they hit their last 3 mainly with slices and slashes by Bennett. Duke is 5 for 6 for 83% from the field.
Notre Dame set to inbound the ball. LaFonso Ellis, who has really gone from an underachiever to a possible lottery pick in the NBA draft, under the coaching of McLeod, inbounds the ball. And the heat's on as Elmer Bennett gives off to Sweet, and here's Damon Sweet bringing the ball up court.
Grant Hill is on Ellis. I think Ellis can get something done here. Nice alley-oop. I told you.
That was it.
Coach K warned him in practice yesterday. Just turned his head on the weak side and gave him the back door. Good pass.
Damon Sweet off to a fast start, Al, hitting 3 of 4 shots for 6 points.
Too much steps, too many steps. But got away with it. Got away with a walk in the boardwalk.
And Duke again goes up by 5 as Leitner has hit all 3 of his shots. He scored 6. Leitner triggered the steal, tipping it away. Hurley leads at Thomas Hill. Got the wrong end of the hoop, and here comes Elmer Bennett on the fly for Notre Dame. 3-on-2 as the lanes fill. A dish.
Nice. That's John McLeod. That is NBA fast break. You'll only see man-to-man from Notre Dame. They work on fundamentals every day.
That was their big problem early in the year, along with turnovers. They just were not used to playing man-to-man. Under Digger Phelps, they were primarily a zone defense team. McLeod plays only man-to-man. And his team plays fast. Coach K says if there's one difference in this Duke team from a year ago, we play faster than we did last year. That's the name of the game now, I guess.
And they play with they're more positive. I mean, they're the champs, and they don't talk about repeating. They talk about pursuing the next championship. There's that pogo stick jump. That's the athletic ability to be able to go back up the second time without recurling.
Grant Hill was the guy who got his own offensive board and the putback. Duke is averaging 94 points a game, and now Notre Dame does some slick things inside again as the lead goes to Damon Sweet. And the Irish, the huge underdog, are back to within 3.
I tell you, why cover anybody else? If you stop any one of those 3 guys, that's all she wrote.
Leitner, not quite enough, but good move by Brian Davis, who wasn't blocked out. Now Notre Dame tries to burn him the other way as Bennett goes all the way down and hooks it in as Elmer Bennett's putting on a show.
Oh, he's a water buck. He can get it done. There's no doubt about it. I thought he was palming the ball there once or twice or carrying it. That's 2. Oh!
Good foul by Ross.
Excellent foul. He makes Christian go to the foul line. And the guy that likes chicken wings from Buffalo.
Christian Leitner, who has just sensational numbers. Here's a player they're very pleased with at Duke, Antonio Lang, a 6'8" sophomore. Coach Krzyzewski challenged a couple of his younger players to step up. He said that we need more from our bench, and he particularly challenged Antonio Lang and freshman Cherokee Parks, and they both responded.
Now, we just made a switch with the Twins. Now, at halftime, if they want, they can change the uniforms. I don't think a Catholic school would do that. But if it wasn't a Catholic school, maybe they would do it. But now, John Ross has 2 fouls. Pay attention, fans out there. What Coach K is trying to do is get deep into the bench at Notre Dame. There is nothing there. There's some players, I'm not saying that they're washouts, but they don't have the quality of their starting 4 or 5. And always remember that Pete Towers broke his elbow in the DePaul game and will be out for a minimum of 2 weeks. We're going to take another look at it Monday when they take the cast.
The black band the Irish are wearing on their uniforms in memory of the 2 Notre Dame swimmers, Colleen Hipp and Megan Beeler, who died in a bus accident returning from the meet. Here is Elmer Bennett pulling up off the dribble, and Hurley gets the carom. Bobby Hurley coming into the game with 700 assists. The Duke career record is 708 by one of their assistant coaches, Tommy Amaker, over 4 years. Hurley's just a junior.
Chief Park's body is too big. Caught Ellis on his rear end. Ellis tried to get around, committed an obvious foul.
13:03 to play in the first half. Don Criqui with Coach Al McGuire. A new Hall of Famer, Coach McGuire, to be inducted in May as Bobby Hurley drives to the hoop, lays off to Leitner. Leitner slams down another, and Hurley approaches the Duke record for assists.
Yeah, he's going to beat the assistant coach, Tommy Amaker. Hurley is the heart and soul of the team. Runs the show.
He's got a big overmatch, as you well know, Al, and maybe the player of the year in Christian Leitner against the Ross twins, who've been alternating. Leitner already with 10 points for Duke. And here come the Blue Devils on the run as Hurley is cut off at the pass and fouled by Elmer Bennett.
If you watch with Bob Hurley, he penetrates under the radar, then he'll drop off. That's a drop down. And he'll do a lot of that in a few years from now in the NBA.
There is Tommy Amaker.
Bob Hurley won't be a star in the NBA, but he's a leader, he's a winner, and he can fan the ball out. He will play in the NBA, but won't be a star. He has to improve on that mainly, shooting from three-point line.
Antonio Lang gets the putback on the offensive end, and Duke opens up its biggest lead, 25-16.
They got to get LaFonso into the game.
Archishevsky, talking about Hurley's attributes, he said, number one, he brings the ball down the court faster than anybody in the country who can pass it well. And he plays defense at top of the line.
Oh, he just created that turnover with a 5-second count.
And Duke takes the timeout with
Their eyes out there. Notre Dame has 16 points. 14 come from the guards, and the other 2 is from Ellis. They took Ellis out to try to get his head straight, and they'll put him back in quite soon.
He's back in right now, Al. He just went back in. 11:50 to play in the first half. Ryan Davis, who scored 5 early points on the wing as they go low to Leitner and double up on him and the ball. Bennett coming back. Leitner coming out high now.
If they open up, Leitner could drive on Ross.
He's got Hurley, who was stroking the threes the other night as Duke came back against Florida State. Blue Devils were down by a point with less than 4 minutes to play. Ran off 14 points without the opposition scoring to end the game. They won by 13.
Blue Devils didn't use any more than 7 players. Didn't fool around with that ball game.
Notre Dame needs a hit here. The Blue Devils on a 9-0 run.
Excellent defensive job on LaFonso. They covered in front and in back. Back is the help is going to come from Christian Leitner.
On Duke's number 21, Antonio Lang.
Antonio Lang was playing in front with a little bit too much hands that time.
Duke wins today. It'll be the 500th win for the Blue Devils here in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Well, that's 52 years the stadium's been here. That's not just a great average. That's 10 wins a year.
Last 2 years, they pile them up, though, as Cherokee Parks draws the foul. That's one of the most recruited players in America, coming out of Huntington Beach, California last year. Parks and Chris Webber of Michigan, the top big men.
Well, that's only the 3rd foul called on Duke. There are 5 called on Notre Dame.
Damon Sweet dishes off to LaFonso Ellis. And again, Duke body checks Ellis and doesn't allow him to power the basket. Early searches out low and finds Antonio Lang. Leitner with the ball, drives to the hoop, but he's a 56% three-point shooter. Leitner, a sensational outside shooter, hitting 63% overall from the field. He now has 12 points. So the overmatch continues. Notre Dame unable to defend Christian Leitner. Hosen in the game, gives the ball to Ellis. And LaFonso Ellis strokes a 15-foot jump shot to bring the Irish back to within 12.
Coach K wants to get off to an early lead. There's a nice lead working now with 10 minutes left to go for the half. Nobody in foul trouble. That's going up by Davis.
Rebound to Ellis, one of the nation's best at rebounding the ball, averaging almost 11 a game.
Good play by Bennett. Keep the ball alive. Keep his dribble. Good D.
Jesky was talking about Hurley, who's been hawking Bennett. Plays Pac-Man defense, and now...
Oh, that will be intentional. That will be a 2-shot foul on the ball.
Ryan Davis seeing Ross with a breakaway, grabbed him, and
watch this replay now. It's an automatic breakaway. Sweet got a piece of the ball. Ross came up, and there's the tag team.
Foul is on Joe Ross, number 53. His first 16 foul. And John Ross.
No, they didn't call a flagrant foul.
there was one call, but it was overruled. That signal was made.
Intentional foul.
They crossed the arms, Dale. That's the signal. They called it. Now they're taking it off.
I think I'm kind of surprised at this call. Oh, they're calling it both ways.
How can they call it both ways?
Well, I think at the end, Ross kind of held on to Davis.
Must have retaliated. Brian Davis will go to the line first.
And normally the safe way to call anything is both ways or no call. Here we go. There's the rip. Now watch at the end here. See, now there's the grab back and the push. So good call by the Zebras. Both will take 2 foul shots.
Brian Davis, the senior co-captain, gets both of his.
Nope. I'm wrong. I'm just...
So the Duke's going to inbound the ball. It was only called one way.
So I'll... well, we have the advantage of watching these.
So Duke has appeared to be a blatant foul by Davis, but the Blue Devils end up beneficiaries of the call as they have the call against Notre Dame. It goes that way. And now Duke with its biggest lead, a 14-point advantage. Kicks it out to Hurley, defended by Bennett. Thomas Hill pulls up. Freshman Cherokee Park. Back up. And the Blue Devils keep attacking.
Just too much athleticism on Duke.
St. John's with a big win over number 6 Connecticut today. Ball tipped over and inside to LaFonso Ellis is Duke with that terrific defense that keeps switching and keeps doubling up on the ball, forcing Notre Dame into errant shots now after the Irish shot well early. Early blows by and dishes to Parks. High
ball. Notre Dame's ball on the
Notre Dame.
rule. Number 30, Billy Taylor, replaces
Nice defense here. Watch the hands up on the ball.
Notre Dame.
Student body, the 6th man, who Coach K said there should be a banner in the stadium here for them, is saying and chanting, "Let's go Knicks." Talking about the last pro job that John McLeod had.
Here's LaFonso Ellis dishing off of Ross's hands. That'll be a foul on Parks down low.
You know what? It's a physical game. I think Duke is playing obviously more physical than Notre Dame. But there's an awful lot of pushing and shoving out there.
14 foul. Christian Laettner replaces Cherokee Park.
8:11 to play in the first half at the 34-18 Duke lead.
Number 20, LaFonso Ellis on the line for the Fighting Irish.
Duke averaging 94 points a game on offense, allowing its opponents just 72. Duke as a team shoots 56% from the field.
They took Cherokee Parks out because that was his 2nd personal foul.
LaFonso Ellis at the free throw line is a 17-point-a-game scorer. And Ellis brings the Irish back again to within 14 as Hurley now calls the play. Thomas Hill loses the handle but gets it back. Offensive board to Lang, tapped up by Laettner as Duke is totally dominating this offensive board. It's almost as many prizes they need. 5 times they got the rebound.
You can't give the offensive rebound. That's the key to basketball.
The rebounding has been a big story. Duke has out-rebounded Notre Dame 15-3. It was a long time coming and well-deserved as Duke finally won a national championship on its 5th trip to the Final Four in 6-year period.
Well, Coach K has gone to the Final Four the last 4 straight years. Only Coach Wooden did that. But the rebounds here, it's a Boston Tea Party. It's a massacre.
The second chance points have been big. Duke has missed 12 shots, has hit 14 of 26, but they've gotten 9 offensive rebounds back. Elmer Bennett fires from 3-point range. Laettner with a perfect block out of Ross takes down the board. Leitner does all the right things at both ends as they're starting to bang more and more. Here's a steal by the freshman, Billy Taylor. Up quickly to Bennett.
Solid defense. The ref starts counting 5 counts. A little bit too much hands that time on Christian. Christian was looking for the steal. He's coming along the right side of him. Watch Christian now starts to think about steal in his head. Watch him start fudging. There's the shove off. Good call. There's the Acton Award. Get the enemy out.
Leitner with his second foul. Ross and Leitner bumping hard underneath the Notre Dame basket as Elmer Bennett looks for an open man. The only one he can find is out by the midcourt line, Damon Sweet. Duke defense extends out.
Nice switch.
Everything works but the shot. Grant Hill to Thomas Hill and slam. Bam.
Like a hang glider that time, coming off a cliff.
Notre Dame calls a timeout with 6:34 to play, and the #1 Duke Blue Devils in the lead, 38-20.
Here goes the hang glide. About 6 minutes ago, here's an early turning point in the game. These two guys start playing ring around Rosie. There's the call. He swings him around. Then Rose swings Davis around. Now, that's an 8-point spread because they charged Rose with the foul, which was 2 foul shots in the ball. Notre Dame lost 4 points. Duke picked up 4. That was the 8-point spread, and that's where it's 38-20 at the present time.
Notre Dame, as the game wears on, having great difficulty getting an open shot. Duke's defense has been too good.
Well, Duke could have the best defense in the country.
Ross goes to the basket. Grant Hill blocked him beautifully. No charging call. And then the follow-up shot
by the freshman Russell.
Malik Russell. Leitner coming out high, loses the ball, and comes inbound to Notre Dame. The NBA on NBC tomorrow afternoon. Golden State versus the New York Knicks beginning at 12:30 Eastern time. And then Chicago and the LA Lakers, and Magic Johnson will be a guest analyst on that game. From Los Angeles, an NBA doubleheader tomorrow on NBC Sports.
Nice bounce pass by Ross that time to the weak side. Temple basket by Ellis.
Leitner gets the roll as he continues to put up the numbers. 14 points for Christian Leitner. 16 points for Christian Leitner. And he's going to the line.
Christian Leitner plays another level than the Ross twins, obviously. And he doesn't look like he's mentally and physically tough, but he's extremely tough ball player. Reminds you a lot of yesteryear with Ed McCauley and also yesteryear of Bill Walton. This fella has a little point guard in his body.
Well, they were saying yesterday, Al, that sometimes they just have to hold Leitner out of practice because he only has one speed, and that's flat out. To rest him, to get him some rest, they have to just not let him practice in scrimmages because he cannot back off.
I would try in this situation with him have 2 personal fouls. I would try to take him down low and pick up that 3rd foul on him.
As he contends for College Player of the Year honors, Leitner is certainly adding to his luster today. He scored 17 points, 6 of 9 shooting. He already has 6 rebounds. And Duke has opened up a 19-point lead.
And the trifecta of Notre Dame has taken 16 of the 18 shots. The trifecta is Bennett, Sweet, and Alfonso.
Elmer Bennett, who was hot early, comes up short, and now Duke. Thomas Hill got the 3-point attempt by Bennett. Boyer in the game. Russell goes one way, Boyer bounces the other. Boyer scored 10 points off the bench against Duke a year ago, a sophomore guard.
Likes to shoot, can hit from outside, a physical player. half a step slow.
Grant Hill, who can play all 5 positions on the floor. He'll backs up Hurley. When Hurley goes out, Hill goes to point guard at 6'8".
Hill gets it again. He'll take Russell to school. Here it goes. So long. They're spreading out, eating a little bit of clock.
Grant Hill's only taken 2 shots, Al, averaging 15 a game, and Grant Hill's the guy that Coach Krzyzewski says could very well be the greatest ever wear the blue and white of Duke one day.
He said he's the most versatile athlete he's ever coached. His number will be hanging from the ceiling here.
Notre Dame slowing down the pace of the game now. They look to run early. Duke getting points off the misses in transition, and now Notre Dame tries to go with a more set offense.
Duke foul on number 23, Brian Davis. His first personal
Okay, now
foul.
each team are in the
foul.
1-and-1. So all the fouls from now on are 1-and-1. John Ross has 3 personal fouls. So they'll definitely change uniforms when they go inside of it.
You know, I asked him that once. I said, do you guys ever get any advantage? He said, well, if one of us got in foul trouble, we could change uniforms. And he said, we've never done it. But he was laughing at the time.
Well, he just got himself 2 points that time. The ball danced around. They're coming. They're projects, and they're coming. They'll be good in the senior year. Nice play by Bobby Hurley that time. When you hear the whistle, always put the ball up on the glass. That way you get 2 shots rather than 1-and-1.
His second personal foul. That's the 18th foul. Number 20.
Early set to go to the free throw line, a 6-foot junior guard who was a Final Four all-tournament team.
For the Blue Devils on the line, number 11, Bobby Hurley. Damon Sweet back at
Notre Dame now looking to its benches. Lamar Justice comes in, Al, a backup point guard, freshman player. Boyer goes out.
2 shots for Hurley.
He's trying to keep them relatively fresh, but when you lose them by 17 points, you've got to stay in the ball game. And he knows his team's in good condition to start in 5, and they usually make runs in the second half to fight Irish. But they get so far down, it's too late to make any runs.
Hurley with 6 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. Gets a rare respite. He plays more minutes than anybody on the Duke team. Here is Lamar Justice, the freshman, up against Grant Hill. Again, Notre Dame can't hit from the outside, and Duke comes back the other way running. Hill to Lang.
Nice bullet pass by Grant H. Can play any position. God-given talent.
Jeff Nixell, who's the lead scout, assistant coach for Notre Dame, said we've played a lot of good teams in the last 5 years, but this is far and away the best college team we've seen. We scouted. Duke. Still doing some trick work. Davis ends up with the ball. And Russell, a freshman, comes down with the rebound. And Notre Dame runs. Lead goes down low to Damon Sweet. Great defense by Grant Hill, who rejected the shot cleanly.
Irish bench is up. They thought there was a foul there. Watch the replay here, whether a foul or not. But watch Grant Hill fly over. There was no contact. That was all leather from this angle.
Looked good all the way on Grant Hill's block. Marvelous players. You heard he's the son of the great former Dallas Cowboy and Yale standout Calvin Hill, who's now vice president of the Baltimore Orioles baseball team. There's a player from Grant Hills High School in Reston, Virginia, who's sitting behind the Duke bench, who a lot of people think is the best junior in the country. Joey Beard, a 6'9" player. He's on a recruiting visit here to Duke.
Russell's trying hard, but he's making freshman mistakes. He threw the ball out of bounds the last time down for that steal. They got him turned around. He's going backwards. He's doing 360s, trying to get his balance.
Here's a foul call on Malik Russell, a freshman for Notre Dame from New York City, with 2:36 to play in the first half. There's Joey Beard in the center of your screen with a striped shirt on.
first personal foul,
As the greatness of the Duke program perpetuates itself, although they say North Carolina is very much in on the recruiting of Beard, so is Virginia, and so is Notre Dame. But he came from the same high school as Grant Hill. Leg up Duke.
You know, one of the things when we asked Coach K yesterday, would he ever think of leaving Duke? He says, I don't have the physical strength to rebuild the program.
That's what he said, yeah.
He said, I'm happy here. Everyone treats each other like human beings, and so this is it for me.
He said, if I didn't have an outstanding AD, Bill Butters as the AD, and a top chancellor president, you might think about it, but you get so much support here. He said, I don't know where it could be any better. I don't think it could be, and he's not going anywhere.
Someone says the Final Four changed his life. He says, no, I enjoy the life I had. Why should I change it? Tried a bounce pass, but that was kind of reaching.
St. John's, and coached by Lou Carnesecca, will join Al McGuire as a new Hall of Famer in the induction ceremonies in May in Springfield. Michigan State up on Indiana in the Big Ten battle at East Lansing. Kansas, a team that might be able to challenge Duke. It went against the Blue Devils in the championship game of the tournament last season. Out in front again today.
And I see Kansas and Oklahoma there. In my opinion, the Big Eight has the best conference in the country. That first five should go to the NCAA. Almost converted into a three-point play. Nice adjustment in the air by the big freshman.
Notre Dame foul, number 32, Gilmore, his first 10th personal foul, 10th team foul.
Now, stay with the Notre Dame crowd fans out there at South Bend. Got a big game coming up next week. They're doing Michigan. Just going to have, they're playing their best. They got some great ball players. In the next couple of years, it's going to have growing pains because we got to get it back into gear. There's no instant coffee. John McLeod realizes this, and people that know basketball realize it. So, but he gives 100%. Every day he's out there in the swimming pool, swimming that 1,000 yards. He's a jogger, he's a boxer, and he's not a complainer. He doesn't cry.
Today he should be a rebounder.
On the offensive board.
McLeod said there are no shortcuts. But there's going to be pain involved bringing this back, the Notre Dame basketball program. Now, Coach McLeod looking at a lot of his freshmen as Gilmore comes in. Nathan Gilmore, a 6'8" freshman from Marcos, Texas. Another big play by Duke at the defensive end. The heat stays on as Duke gets it down low to Thomas Hill, and he is fouled.
Nice moves by the junior. Outstanding head and shoulder fakes. I call this the Mambo move.
Fouls on number 32, Gilmore.
What's the head and shoulder?
Personal foul. Marty Clark in the ball game.
1, 2, 3, and away. Get the guy up in the air, then come underneath him. Maybe you'll luck out for 3 points, but you'll always end up on the foul line with 2 foul shots if the ball doesn't go in.
Thomas Hill, a 6'5" junior. A man who his coaches say will do whatever it takes to get better. Tremendous work ethic. His dad was an Olympic silver medalist in track and field. Only time this building's quieter when his Duke is at the line. 1:22 to go in the first half, and the Blue Devils build on their lead. It's now 49-26. So it's a good day to win a letter here, Coach McGuire.
Well, they just moved in Clark. Hasn't been seeing much PT. Didn't get in the game against Florida State. He's out of Denver, Catholic High School in Denver. Hey, one of my ball players that Belmont Abbey coached, a guy named Bill Fickner. Bill was a good ball player at Belmont Abbey.
Gilmore can't get it to go. Hurley with his 4th rebound. The lead pass is tipped away by LaFonso Ellis with 58 seconds to play in the half.
Notre Dame man-to-man.
Defensive board down to 6'4" Billy Taylor, up court to Elmer Bennett. Elmer Bennett, a real offensive threat, pulling up off the dribble and getting it to go.
And Bobby has hands on him. Bob's staying right with him, but Bennett's so quick.
He scored 8 points so far, Elmer Bennett.
Might be taking it down for 1 shot. Shot clock is off.
Ellis has 8 and Sweet has 8. Leitner, the leading scorer in the ball game, on the bench with 14 points for Duke. Brian Davis, his fellow co-captain, has 9. Thomas Hill with 8. Antonio Lang's come off the bench to score 6, and Hurley with the ball has 6. Bobby Hurley dishes to Grant Hill. They time it out just right, just before the horn. The Blue Devils throw down another one and extend their lead to 51-28.
Carroll came around a double pick down low, elevated, released, 2.
We'll be joining Gail Gardner in our Prudential Update studio in New York right after this.
At Madison Square Garden, Carnesecca's Redmen broke out of a slump and upset 6th-ranked UConn. Louis Redmen loses of 3 in a row coming into the day, and there was miserable shooting for the Huskies in the first half. Off the miss by Danielle Marshall, Malik Sealy to Derek Brown ahead of the field. St. John's opening a 24-7 lead in the early going. Much of the same in the second half. Jason Buchanan with the alley-oop to Sealy. He finished with 25 points and 18 rebounds. By the way, on his 22nd birthday, the final 90 to...
The Blue Devils lead the Fighting Irish 51-28. LaFonso Ellis of Notre Dame troubled in the first half. He did score 8 points, but for the most part, he wasn't much of a threat at the offensive end.
What they've been doing, Don, is alternating man-to-man on them, and they've held them to 8 points.
Duke saw its lead cut to 19-16 at one point. Then the Blue Devils started to rebound and started to run, and it was lights out. It was over kind of early.
Well, it's a mismatch because of the substitution, also because of Tower being out. Duke is obviously a better ball club. The only way that Notre Dame could possibly win is that trifecta, who has scored 24 of the 28 points scored.
As we mentioned at the outset, Coach Al McGuire here is a new inductee to the Basketball Hall of Fame. We want to duly note, though, as a coach, right, not as a player.
That's when they called me in the morning. I was sleeping, and I said, well, how could they put me in when they only averaged 3.1 a game?
Yesterday, Coach Krzyzewski congratulated Al and said he was so happy for him, and Al said, well, one day you're going to join me here, and Coach K said, I'll look forward to that, and Al said, I hope I'm on the same side of the grass when that happens. But as we look at the rest of the first half statistics, it was Duke show of power as the Blue Devils did everything right, including shoot free throws as they hit for 11 of 14 from the line. But the rebounds continue to be a glaring disparity at the Irish at a disadvantage there. Blue Devils out rebounding Notre Dame 23-8. Notre Dame does help down the turnover count for the most part. That's been a big problem for them. But right now, today, for Coach John McLeod to look at the players he'll be going with next year, perhaps the rest of the way. Although, as McLeod said, I don't care what the score is or where we're at, we're going to come at you.
Yeah, he has a system he's going to build. It's going to take about 3 years from now for that thing to really germinate. But he stays with it. I like his attitude. I like the way he treats the young men. And it's almost like a love affair between him and these ball players.
Well, as he said, it's going to take time and there's going to be pain, but already there's things they like. Number one, the style of play. He has signed 2 top guards for next year, 2 outstanding backcourt players. But they'll need up front help with 4 seniors graduating off the starting 5. Now LaFonso Ellis, all of a sudden, demonstrates his ability to block shots. McLeod talking about the things the pros like about Ellis. He said, number one, he catches everything you throw to him and he can shoot it. Number 2, he can run the floor. He blocks shots and he's very strong. So those are 4 things that will get you drafted high if you can do them all well. As Hurley strikes from 3-point range and Duke picks right up.
You know, you talk about Coach K, you talk about integrity. You talk about Bob Hurley, you talk about winning.
Bottom line, his whole career, Bobby Hurley just went over 1,000 points as a Duke scorer.
And he has a chance of breaking the assist record in the second half here.
Hurley with unlimited stamina. They say they marvel at him. He just always has a full tank. Other guys are running on fumes. He's still going as hard as he did at the outset of the game. He'll inbound the ball now to Brian Davis. Davis gets it up and over. He was bumped by Ross, but still got the shot down.
The 6th man, the student body's chanting, pour it on, pour it on.
I think the only way that Notre Dame can get back at Duke is to play him in football. Nice block by Christian.
Yeah, that would be about 56-30 or less the other way. Lou Holtz having a sensational recruiting year.
Christian didn't foul. Where the foul came was down low off Hill, Grant Hill.
Notre Dame getting a boost when Rick Meyer elected to come back for his senior season. And the Fighting Irish, according to Jim Daves, who's president of the team, from John Heisler's SID office, they've received 17 verbal commitments from top recruits. And Duke is also pleased with the way their football recruiting is going. Although Duke football is to Notre Dame football, what Notre Dame basketball is to Duke basketball. We start to get into converses here we're not looking to do.
Yeah, Duke is definitely a round ball, net, B-ball program.
Thomas Hill driving hard to the basket. Flashing cut to the hoop, and Duke is up 58-32.
Great assist by Davis that time. Duke drifts off the weak side. They don't want Sweet to have any three-pointers. Ooh, look what I found. Good hit by John Ross.
Ross with an intercept down low, and he goes out to Elmer Bennett. Notre Dame's first option is to run. If that's not there, to bring it back out and set it out with a high post offense. Bonzo Ellis goes to the free throw line.
If Notre Dame scores 4 or 6 points in a row, you will see Coach K call the timeout and jump all over his place. He does not put up with any type of ups and downs of intensity. You must be intense and you must play defense. Duke basketball is defense. They got those hands up. That's not allowed. Watch this time on the Duke players. If they move their hands, what they're trying to do is catch the peripheral vision of the shooter. Let's see if they move their hands up. Let's see.
They will.
Watch all this. They did it last time. No, they didn't do it.
They didn't do it this time.
They must do it just on the first shot of a two-shot foul. And that movement might just break your concentration enough. Here comes a trap. It's a 1-3-1 trap by Notre Dame. Should be open underneath.
Bonzo Ellis got a foot on the ball, and Thomas Hill picks it up.
Now Notre Dame goes with solid man-to-man. Should work the ball into Christian. There it is.
Beautiful play by Grant Hill as he drives the baseline and dishes, but Leitner lost the handle. With a win today, Duke goes to its best start in school history, 17-0. Their 86 team also started out 16-0, as did this year's team. It'll be the 500th win in Cameron Indoor Stadium, and their 23rd victory dating back to last March. Ross shoots and strokes it.
Confidence, you hit one, all of a sudden that rim becomes a rain barrel.
Irish back to within 20. 4 of Notre Dame's wins came from double-digit deficits this season. They weren't playing Duke, although they did come back to win at Southern California from way down in the second half.
Oh!
Looked good till the final result was a missed tip down, and here comes Hurley. Good defensive play by Elmer Bennett.
That time, Hurley should have kept the ball and got tight and dropped the bounce pass to Leitner. Watch Ross reach in, hits it off the knee of Christian, recover and score down the other end. Got a 20-point spread. Blue Devils don't want to let it get under 20.
Leitner working on Ross, and he'll go to the line. Now, you mentioned, Al, that Leitner would be the #1 senior drafted in the NBA, but everybody seems by acclamation to pick Shaquille O'Neal of LSU as the #1 player in the country.
Well, as you watch this play down low where Christian gets the inside position, I said he's the #1 senior going to be drafted in the NBA draft in June.
But if Shaquille O'Neal comes out, which I don't think he will, he'll get the most money ever, something around $20 million. JJ might come out of Ohio State. Mills might come out of Arizona. But the ones of the seniors is Christian Laettner, I would say Alonzo Mourning, McClain out of UCLA, Todd Day, the kid Houston, Oklahoma State is good.
Byron Houston. John Ross just fouled out for Notre Dame, so I'll keep a look at him on the bench, see if he doesn't go in and switch that number to his twin brothers. Joe Ross is now in. Billy Taylor tries to bank it. Hurley rebounds. 5 rebounds for the smallest player on the floor, 6-foot Bobby Hurley.
Again with Grant Hill, the elevation and the feathery release after he hits the apex of his elevation is unbelievable.
He's a sophomore, Grant Hill, and he put on almost 20 pounds of muscle in the past offseason. He's up to over 220 now. Ellis, body check, can't get the shot to go. Rebound as they work for it. It's picked up by Joe Ross, and he's fouled by Brian Davis. Duke jumped out to a 9-2 early lead in this game. Then Notre Dame came back to trail 19-16. Then Duke blew it away, leading at the half 51-28. The game is North Carolina against the Marquette Warriors. NBC Sports was there, and so was Coach McGuire. Overcome with emotion at a national championship victory. There's the coach. You haven't aged a day either. You're holding up well.
Thank you, Don. That's 15 years ago. And I really, for this Hall of Fame thing, would like to thank my team. Now it's predominantly city kids and cracked sidewalks and so forth. And I didn't think I would enjoy it this much. And maybe I didn't want to.
You're just starting.
Well, I didn't think that I'd ever get in. I'm not that. I was not that type of player. I was more of a dance hall player, pushing and shoving. So it is nice, and I thank the committee, my ball players, and my family for allowing me the opportunity to develop my skills as a
Well, it was a great honor, and I guess the official induction is May 11th in Springfield, Mass. You'll be going in with some terrific people and good friends of yours, like Lou Carnesecca, the St. John's coach, whose team defeated number 6 Connecticut today. Jack Ramsey's going in with over 800 NBA wins.
Connie Hawkins, who was a legend. He was the first black top legend. That means playground legend. He was outstanding. Never got the applause he should have gotten. And I'm going also in with Dry Docks. That's the 22 shoe. Bob Lanier, yeah. And a couple of young ladies are coming in. And so we got a nice group.
Yeah, that's terrific. 2 of the top women players are going into the Hall of Fame also. As with 15:03 to play now in the ball game, Duke continues to lead Notre Dame 63-38. Laettner working down low is fouled by Joe Ross. John's already out of here, his twin brother.
And I think Christian in about 5 minutes is going to send his twin brother to Pine City.
Laettner, we talked about his brilliant outside shooting ability, a 56% three-point shooter, but they like him down low as much as possible because he's so adept at making the score and also going to the line, drawing the foul. Very physical player. He's added 30 pounds over the last 2 years.
Well, he has 21 points now and 6 rebounds. He was the main reason I thought they beat UNLV last year, which will be the biggest upset as years go by, or the biggest win in Duke's history. They still talk about beating Kansas in the final, but that was for the B championship. The championship was truly when they beat UNLV. And they just couldn't cover Christian Roman out to the three-point area.
Fonzo Ellis powers the ball. They were talking at the scouting report meeting yesterday to the Duke players about Ellis's ability to get the ball and literally power his way through a defense to the basket, but for the most part, he's been blocked out inside. He just did get that power jam to go, and it's a 64-40 game Duke.
One of the problems with Ellis, he's never had the continuity. He was 2 different semesters and 2 different years. He had to sit out because of academic problems at Notre Dame, not NCAA academic problems.
Damon Sweet dishes off, and Alfonso Ellis pulls up and hits.
Now listen up to this. Alfonso Ellis, I believe, was more sought after. He's out of St. Louis, out of high school, than Christian Laettner.
That's probably right. Leitner was widely sought after, but Alfonso Ellis was a first-team All-American, high school All-American. He outlets the ball 2 hands down, and Damon Sweet holds up softly and lays it in. The Irish back to within 20. The crowd starts to kick in a little bit as there's still a lot of time left. 13:35 to play.
If it gets under 20, remember what I told you, I believe the coach would call a timeout and get on him. Here comes a foul. Oh, they're calling for walking, shifting his feet down low. He took some little steps.
Number 21 and Cherokee Parks, number 44.
Again, deep rotation, put in fresh men, wear down that trifecta.
Brian Davis and Grant Hill.
And at any team that plays Notre Dame this year, if you let the trifecta go, Sweet, Bennett, and Ellis, you're in trouble.
Leitner tips the ball away as he knocks it over to Thomas Hill. Duke always anticipating the passing lanes. They excel at what looks like to be a good pass, getting a fingertip out, and the teammate scoops it around the way the other way on the run.
Too much hands that time by Bennett. Nice drive by Bobby. Bobby Hurley looks to pass, then shoot second. I don't personally like that. I always think a ball player should look to shoot first, then pass. Because on your way down, if you take the second option to shoot, it's difficult to shoot on your way down. You can shoot on the way up or when you reach the top of your jump.
You mentioned earlier Duke is coming off what was a very difficult game for them at Florida State until the last 3.5 minutes when the Blue Devils went on a 14-0 run to blow the game open, but they were down with less than 4 minutes to play to the Seminoles. The big surprise of the ACC, which they've just joined. Now Notre Dame's back with 18 now.
Yep. Seminoles will also be a big surprise when they start playing football against the ACC.
The ACC is going to, they don't need to be surprised. They know what's coming. Hurley fires, rims it. Thomas Hill with a rebound. Leitner with a rebound as Duke continues to dominate on the offensive end.
Timeout a second. Lang got an elbow in the nose that time. Christian Leitner got away with an elbow underneath trying to get position.
Might have got Antonio take a shot in the mouth.
Yep, he got an elbow. Okay, he's got to check his nose.
In the nose.
Yep, got to check it.
Interesting, Antonio Lang coming out now, like Grant Hill, not only a high school All-American basketball player, but they were both valedictorians of their classes. Talk about having the whole package.
20-point spread. Game's been even the last 8 minutes. It's and Duke hasn't pulled up. They used multiple substitutions. Keep the pressure on. There's Bob, the other present. Nice feed. What a feed. Give a touch. That's it. You see Hill giving the touch that time, Thomas Hill? He says, thanks for the deuce, Bobby.
Kid's handed out a lot of points to people over his career, everywhere he's played.
That was like my brother Dick with the Knickerbockers. He made players.
Bobby Hurley just got his 6th assist of this game, the 706th of his career. 3 more, and he should get them today. He'll set the Duke record.
There's the steal. Now watch him look the other way. Now here comes the pass. And Zippo.
Antonio Lang, who in a battle for a rebound took a hard whack to the nose. He's checking those. Make sure that smile's intact.
Well, here's what happened. Here's where Leitner got away with a push and a shove. Watch underneath. Now when he comes down, he is the one that hits Antonio. Watch, here he comes. Bang,
Oh,
there it
man.
is.
Leighton's own teammate got him.
Yeah, nose and the teeth, but he's okay. If they don't take you off the bench back to the locker room, you're pretty much in good shape.
A2, Leitner.
I don't feel any pain up here.
It is Leitner, evidently. 68-46. Duke a 23-point leader at halftime with a 22-point advantage over Notre Dame now. Alfonso Ellis coming out high as Notre Dame tries to run plays. Duke so schooled and defensively and so quick to help out. There's little either way except on a play like that where Damon Sweet beats the defense by himself.
He's a slasher.
Sweet should shoot more from outside, but for some reason he doesn't want to. He has decent accuracy from out there.
Duke's offensive rebounding superiority, evidenced by the fact that Duke has more offensive rebounds today than Notre Dame has defensive rebounds. Ryan Davis with a little spin banker, and it's a 70-48 Duke lead. 13 points for Davis, the senior co-captain.
Doing a good job on Ellis. Coach K told him yesterday, the most important thing for you to do is to stop Ellis, but you have other important things to do. Good save by Bennett.
Looked like almost an over and back, but his feet weren't down, nor was the ball, so the play was live, and he saved it to Sweet. Here's Elmer Bennett now. We're going to give and go with Ross, who kicks off to Malik Russell.
That is a picture book play.
Thomas Hill pulling up. I know you're a great advocate, Alan. The key to great basketball is to be able to pull up and jump shoot off the dribble.
Yes, and the other key, especially in pro ball, to be a good pro, you must be able to score after you kill your dribble. The great ones can, the Oscars and so forth. And,
Barkley's the best at that. He doesn't have his dribble left. He still jumps through everybody. Cherokee Parks harassed, but he does get the ball to Thomas Hill. Quickly to Leitner.
Nice. Excellent. Russell caught a piece of Christian's arm that time, but excellent spacing, outstanding passing.
If there's one attribute of this Duke team that comes through when you watch them play, when you watch them practice or just around them, it's the team confidence without arrogance. I mean, winning that national championship didn't put the pressure on to repeat it, took all the pressure off after all those close calls.
Well, I still think they'll lose 2 games going into the NCAA. Then they might have a chance to repeat it. And I said at the top of the show, Coach K and the team all say the same thing. We're not defending the national championship. We are pursuing one.
But there was a time, Coach, when you thought they would not repeat. You didn't think anybody could repeat.
I don't think they repeat now.
You don't?
No. That's a long shot. There've been so many that tried. The great Patrick Ewing, who's on tomorrow on NBC. With Georgetown, and UNLV was trying, and they haven't. And so it's a long time since we had teams repeat.
Just saw the teams that have repeated. We'll look at them again as Duke comes on the run. Marty Clark in the game was the lead man on the left flank, but Hill couldn't get the ball to him. Good to see Antonio Lang back on the floor. He's all right after taking that shot in the mouth from his own teammate inadvertently. Tripling down on the low post man, Cherokee Parks.
Lang holds positions and clears out. Gives a runway for Bobby Hurley to drive along the baseline.
Look at those NCAA championship repeaters. Well, UCLA set a standard that will never be measured up to. John Wooden had 11 Final Four teams in his years as the head coach of the Bruins. 10 of them won national champions.
Also, the other thing, Don, what they talk about is that going undefeated. The last team to go undefeated was Indiana in 1976. So that's 16 years ago. Undefeated teams have gone the way of the caribou. Musk oxen.
Still a lot of caribou out there.
On Channel 10,
the musk oxen count must be down, but Hurley now at 10 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds.
Maybe it's the platypuses down in Australia. I'm not sure. Or the kiwis. They're gone. The kiwis in New Zealand. They're a nocturnal bird.
8:50 to play in this game, 77-52. At the time you were known as a nocturnal bird.
Yep. Can't pass the physical anymore. But the last 7 years, you talk about being impressive. Look at the Blue Devils there. That is some record.
It's acceptable, yeah.
Yep. And only Coach Wooden has brought a team to 4 consecutive Final Fours.
That's definitely acceptable.
Get your raise.
Like Hall of Fame. Inbounds to Joe Ross. Cherokee Parks on him, and Notre Dame again has to bring it out and set up.
They say Russell likes to play point guard. Here he goes. showed a little nice movement in the air.
I think Russell has some stuff to come on. He's just a freshman. Coach Krzyzewski with his assistant Mike Bray. And to his right is Bray, and to the left, to your right, Pete Gaudet, who's the lead scout. He breaks down an opponent as well as any coach ever see. You go to one of those scouting sessions, there isn't much the Duke Blue Devils don't know about who they're going to play and what they're going to do.
Well, we enjoyed it. You, I, and John, the director, and Dick, the producer, were in at the breaking down of the scouting report yesterday. It was very interesting.
Our producer today for NBC Sports is John Ferratsis. Our director, Dick Klein. Executive producer, Terry O'Neill. Coordinating producer of basketball, Tommy Roy. We have 8:31 to play in the game. Don Criqui with Al McGuire at Cameron Indoor Stadium as the Duke Blue Devils close in on their 500th victory in this building, on their 23rd straight victory since they were last beaten by North Carolina in the ACC tournament final last March.
There's something again, that 1-3-1. That's the only time they come out of their man-to-man, when they put a 1-3-1 pressure at half court. Every now and then, if we can catch Coach John McLeod, you think the game was a two-point threat. He stays in the game. He tries to keep his team up, keep confidence in them.
Lamar Justice putting a fake on. It's not fought at all by Grant Hill. Here's the steal by Brian Davis. Grant Hill's on the left lead. Here's Grant Hill. It'll go, and Hill to the free throw line.
Again, doesn't get on his ball players. He knows they're trying their best. They've won 6 out of their last 9 games. They have, in my opinion, a decent shot, if they can make a run at home, to go into the NIT. Last year, they had 12 wins and 20 losses. This year, I think at the present time, they're 7 and 8.
7 and 8 heading into this one, but with some very big wins, quality wins, as the NCAA computer people call them. Damon Sweet looks to move down low and can't get it to drop. Rebound to Grant Hill. Marty Clark, a sophomore who's been improving, although not there, as his pass had too much lead. Dick Rosenthal, the athletic director at Notre Dame and a 2-time All-American as a player, said Cloud's done the big thing. He's got the whole program moving the right way. The big winners in college basketball over the previous 5 seasons, UNLV with 3 Final Fours, Duke with 194 wins overall. Arcanian, even if he loses every game for the rest of the season, is still going to retire with the best winning percentage ever.
He has to have 19 wins this year, and I think he's right on the money now. So he'll have the best winning percentage in the history of basketball.
Notre Dame, it's interesting to note, is the only school that's in the top 10 in wins all time in football and basketball. They're 8th in basketball, 2nd in football.
And this year, of those 5 teams there, Notre Dame's playing 3 of them. Matter of fact, we have 3 more hookup games with them, and it's Michigan we got Syracuse at Syracuse, and UCLA at South Bend.
Next Sunday at 12:30, Michigan travels to Notre Dame on NBC Sports. Following Saturday, Notre Dame plays at Syracuse on February 15th, and on the 22nd, the Bruins come to South Bend.
I think that 6th man at South Bend can shake up those freshmen from Michigan.
That's for the all-time win record. The 88-game winning streak ended some years ago. UCLA's win streak.
Every now and then, watching this freshman Russell, there's some good moves, but there's something lacking, and I guess it'll come with maturity. The 1-3-1 trap should end up with a layup underneath the Christian.
Paul Evans, our NBC statistician, totaling the numbers, shows that Leighton has 26 points, lead all scorers on 10 of 13 shooting. Also has 6 rebounds. Thomas Hill with 14. Ryan Davis with a 13-point game. Bobby Hurley with 11 points.
Here's the layup. Nope, he's kicking it out.
Marty Clark fires a line drive and finds a friendly rim.
Mile high from Denver, Marty Clark. Nice move by Bennett. Put it into his whirl-away gear or secretariat gear. Jets. Watch when he turns on the Jets here. Here they come. He's fast. Clears out with his inside arm. Puts up a prayer. Not answered. Gets 2 shots.
2 shots.
Elmer Bennett, in his senior season at Notre Dame, averaging over 16 points a game, coming off his best game ever at Notre Dame, a 32-point performance and a win over DePaul in Notre Dame's last time out. Elmer Bennett now with 12 points in this game. He started off fast, then Duke closed him off. He was driving to the basket and scoring, then that stopped. It's all good teams. Duke knows how to correct something that's not going right.
And they adjust, and the coaching staff is always thinking game.
Leitner going through a double team, breaks through it, and he'll go back to the free throw line. A big day of NBA basketball tomorrow on NBC Sports as Chris Mullin returns to his home city of New York. The Golden State Warriors NBA All-Star and leading scorer to go against Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. That's in the first game of an NBA doubleheader, then a rematch of the NBA championship round of last spring when Michael Jordan led the Chicago Bulls over the LA Lakers. Tomorrow, Michael takes the Bulls into Los Angeles. And this is fabulous form in Inglewood, California to go against the Lakers. And Magic Johnson will be joining Dick Enberg and Mike Fratello as a guest analyst on that game.
But I'll tell you, MJ, Michael Jordan, is some competitor. I mean, they've been coasting and got such a great record going. But every game, Michael Jordan wants to win every game. I don't care if he's playing in the driveway against his grandmother. He wants to win the game.
He did something the other night. I don't know if you saw the highlight where he came from way off the play, from almost the top of the key, and took an offensive rebound that caromed out and just looked like he had jet propulsion and kept going and slammed it. A marvel that never ceases to amaze. Michael Jordan in action tomorrow on NBC Sports. The day kicks off at 12:30. With Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner on NBA Showtime.
Magic should be charming as an analyst.
Yeah. He's feeling good. He's ready to play again, a lot of people think.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think that's up to his doctor.
Foul on Christian Leitner, his third personal foul, 18 foul. Bobby Hurley and Grant Hill return to the lineup for the Blue Devils, replacing Brian Davis
and then
Thomas Hill.
Next Sunday, a week hence, it's the NBA All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern Time with NBA Showtime. As the greatest players in basketball, led by people like Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing, will lead the Eastern Conference against David Robinson, Magic Johnson, and the best in the West. Magic is scheduled to play in the All-Star Game.
Pencil this in. David Robinson will be the MVP.
I've got it written down here, Coach.
Yeah, it's only pencil. I'd have your pen in it if I was really sure.
Damon Sweet of the free throw line leads Notre Dame with 17 points. He hasn't gotten the ball enough. He's hit 4 of 5 field goal attempts here in the second half.
Sweets has to shoot from outside more to keep the defense honest. This is a 1-2-1-1 trap pressure, not called a zone. Now it develops into a man-to-man. Nice drop pass by Bob Hurley.
Leitner slams down 2 more. He now has 29, and Hurley's 2 assists from setting the all-time career record at Duke for assists. He's up to 707, record 708. 1 more he ties, 2 more he sets it. But he'll have over 1,000 career assists, the rate he's going through his 4 years.
I think it's time for Christian to get the applause. 25 points Brad with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left.
86-61. Duke is in the lead as the Blue Devils look to extend their regular season mark to 17-0.
Alley-oop. A little bit too deep.
Grant Hill doing an acrobatic move to get it, save the ball and get it back out. Here's Hill. He's fouled.
Getting into showtime.
Duke led at halftime, 51-28. Notre Dame got it to within 18 in the second half, and then Duke pulled away again. Tonight, the funniest comedies are on NBC, starting with the Golden Girls, followed by Walter and Emily, Empty Nest, and Nurses. And it's the show America Loves Sisters. That's all tonight on NBC. Christian Leitner sits it out now after another job well done on the playing floor at Cameron.
Well, Don, he ended up with 29 points. Figured that the coach would take him out around the 4-minute mark, so there's 4:07 left.
Leitner, a Buffalo Bills fan, lifelong. Today doing to Notre Dame what the Redskins did to the Bills. Leitner, 11 of 14 shooting today, Al.
Well, in Buffalo, he's a legend. Plays a lot of ball players. They had one kid named Johnny Mann as a good ball player when he was growing up with him. That's many, many years ago.
The best to ever come out of Buffalo is the guy going to the Hall of Fame with you, Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier.
Bennett High School, St. Bonaventure.
Bob has always been a winner, no matter where he played. Even into the twilight of his pro career, where he ended up at Milwaukee Bucks. St. Bonaventure, that's an oldie in New York.
Yes, they would have won the national championship his senior year, but Bob Lanier tripped over Chris Ford when they played Villanova. They beat Villanova, but he was out the rest of the way. And
they had a good shot at it. In the country, and I think the ball players at the Redmond and St. John said, hey, let's do something for Louis. Just get into the Hall of Fame.
Judd Heathcote with a big win over Coach Knight and the Hoosiers as Michigan State wins today. Kansas holding on right now. They're playing at Oklahoma in a big 8 showdown. Wake up on Florida State in an ACC game. Florida State probably emotionally having a hard time coming back after a tough loss to Duke the other night. That was the biggest basketball game ever played at Florida State.
Wake Forest has a good team, Don. They're on the bubble. They'll be either the 5th or 6th team of the ACC that gets into the big dance.
Notre Dame, one of the few independents left. Their former athletic director, Gene Corrigan, now the esteemed head of the ACC, the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, Gene Corrigan. I know he's been asked a lot about when he was there, would it be wise to get into a conference? I think Notre Dame is reviewing it now under Dick Rosenthal.
I think that basketball program belongs in a conference for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it will help out recruiting. Number two, I think it will help out scheduling, especially in January and February. They won't have these gaps and holes in their schedule that create so many problems. Nice position by Ellis. Good finish.
Lonzo Ellis makes it a 90-65 game with 3 minutes to play. Ellis with 18 points. He averages 17 a game. Down low, Meek. Eric Meek, a top freshman, gets the rebound. Pump faking, back up. Rejected by Ellis. Here comes Damon Sweet. Ellis leans over. Gilmore leans over the top. The foul call on freshman Nathan Gilmore of Notre Dame.
He pole vaulted that time. He put his hands on the shoulder of the Duke player. Gave him a little bit more height.
When Mike Krzyzewski, I was talking yesterday about the unlikelihood of going unbeaten, and certainly the unrealistic goal it would be, that we don't have the schedule set up to go unbeaten. And you look what's coming up for Duke. Next Wednesday, they're at North Carolina. They follow that by a trip to LSU the following Saturday. Then they play Georgia Tech at Atlanta. Then they're at NC State.
Don't even go by next Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday at Chapel Hill.
Right. 8 miles down the road.
Yeah, that is the toughest game on their schedule, bar and none.
There it is.
And now, obviously, we go down to Dale Brown down in Baton Rouge, Bayou country with Shaquille O'Neal, and who I think will not come out this year. I think that he will stay for his 4th season at LSU, a la Sampson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Krzyzewski has a couple of axioms about coaching. Number one, everything you do is built towards being at your best in March. And no program can be successful unless the practices are fun. It can't be work.
The other thing in March, you've got to reverse it. You've got to go into March like a lamb and come out like a lion.
But you can't stub your toe. There's only 1 and out.
Oh, no, it's Russian roulette. One mistake and you're out swinging the golf club.
Duke has never trailed in this game. The Blue Devils led by 23 at the half. The lead fluctuated from 18 to 27 since then. See Bobby Hurley now with 1 assist away from tying the record.
You know what? Knowing Coach K, I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't setting that to be broke up at Chapel Hill on Tuesday night. Said, okay, Bobby, here's where you go into the Hall of Fame of Duke. And obviously, as the years go by, he's still got another 50 games left after this to increase that assist record.
Brooks Boyer fires and strokes it down. A 2-point hit for Notre Dame with 2:15 to play.
Boyer's a decent ball player, will improve with more PT.
The cheers are for Blakeney, a walk-on. Kenny Blakeney, a backup guard. Every time he gets the ball, he gets a big ovation from the student body. As Notre Dame scores on the break, Lamar Justice coming off the right flank to score with under 2 minutes to play now.
Coach K will take the end of this game on tape and get these some of these also-ran ball players out there in the room and say, hey, this is what you did wrong, this is what you did wrong, that's what you did right.
A hard foul on Cherokee Parks. Nathan Gilmore, if he's going to foul, he's going to make it a good one.
Blakeney had a nice entry pass that time into Cherokee. There it is. Good position. Put him down to the mat. I'm glad for Antonio Lang that the nose isn't broken. None of those teeth are out. It could have been a serious hit coming down like Christian Laettner did on him.
That was interesting. Yesterday, I was talking to Mike Bray, one of Coach K's assistants, and asking about is the pressure building on going undefeated. And he said, it doesn't bother these guys. He said they like to play so much, they'd rather play than practice. They'd like to have a game every night.
Well, I think most college kids would. I disagree with the presidents of the universities where they're cutting down the schedule to the point. I think they should cut down the practices. And I also think that the presidents of the universities should stop cutting into the coaching staffs. You know, their staffs as athletic directors and presidents since 1960 have increased maybe 200–300%. Now they're trying to cut the staffs of the teams that are producing the money. And it just doesn't make sense to me. You take it Indiana, they cut a game off, which means about $300,000 one game at home. $300,000 into the library or into the minor sports. That's a lot of money. So I don't know if they're thinking right. Are you supposed to say that about a president? If they're not thinking right. But presidents, when you go to a convention, please do this. No matter what school you're at. Call in the coaches and some of the players and meet with them and talk to them. Talk to the people that know what's going on. Stop talking to those alumni that don't know anything.
Well, that's a strong feeling of the coaches in general, though, that there should be representation in all these meetings.
Sure they should. They're the ones that's why this gym is packed here. It's because of Coach K. It's because of the players. It's because of Christian. It's because of Bobby. It's because of Hill. And then to go places and not speak to the people that know their business. It's crazy. It's like post-dating memos or playing paperclip wars. Or trying to figure out the pepper and the fly dropping. Whatever the devil that means.
Coming down the stretch now, Duke averages a 94-point-a-game performance, allowing the opponent 72, just a bit off those numbers today. Duke averages 22-point victories this season. Outscoring the opposition 94-72. Notre Dame will fall to 7-9. The Irish, though, are optimistic that they'll play well enough and win enough games to get into the NCAA tournament when the overriding criteria is quality wins.
It'd be difficult. It's a way outside chance. They could be from 60 to 64th, that area, if they're going to get in. It'd be a white knuckler. They got a good shot if they can go 14 wins, 14 and 14 for the NIT. Now, the student body wants 100 points. The score is 98-71. So let's enjoy this last 35 seconds. Will they get 100 points? If they get 100 points, have your wife go into the refrigerator, get your cold pop out of them, and deliver it to you. If they don't, you go get the ice cream and bring it out for your wife. Here we go. Will they get 100? Clock's down to 30. Hey, let them shoot. You want to get 100.
Hopefully you and your wife are still watching. It's been out of hand for a while.
Yeah, Notre Dame is freezing the ball. They don't want them to get 100. All right, here we go. We don't have much time for it. Here we go.
To Clark.
Here it is. He got 100. Okay, Pat, get up and go get me a pop. There's the student body. They wanted triple numbers. That was a step in. They waved a foul. Let's get out of here. The game's over. 100-71.
Now, an overwhelming performance by the reigning national champions will return to Duke right after this. Cherokee Parks kicks the ball up court. The lead goes down to Marty Clark, and he slams down numbers 99 and 100 for the victors. The Duke